dirt and grease, then allow the area to dry. It is recommended that whenever you are painting a surface, clean the area with a good quality wax and grease remover such as the one we're using. When applying either a primer or top coat, shake the bottle of touch-up paint to completely mix the pigment. If the chip is deep enough to expose bare metal, first apply touch-up primer to the chipped area. Allow it to thoroughly dry before applying paint. This will usually only take a few minutes. Next, put several drops of the paint on a small piece of cardboard and stir the paint around with the brush to break up any small blobs. Then take a small amount of the paint on the brush and carefully dab the paint into the nick or chip. For vehicles with a clear coat finish, apply the clear touch-up over the final paint coat. After the paint is dried, apply some wax to protect the finish, and you're done.
Let's quickly review repairing nicks and scratches. Thoroughly wash the area to be repaired. For scratches, apply coarse rubbing compound to remove the scratches. Next, apply fine rubbing compound to smooth and blend the paint finish. Wipe the area with a clean cloth to buff up the shine. Then cover with a coat of wax to protect the paint. For nicks, a more complete cleaning with wax and grease remover should be performed. Apply touch-up primer to the chips that are down to bare metal. Thoroughly shake the bottle, then place a small amount of the touch-up paint on a piece of cardboard. Dab the paint into the nicks and chips, and cover with clear coat and wax after the paint dries.
The tools you will need to repair an area of peeling paint include a wash bucket and car wash, a wax and grease remover or adhesive cleaner and some soft towels, masking tape and newspaper, assorted sandpapers of various grits, a sanding pad, a shop vacuum or air blower, a tack cloth, a dust respirator and a pair of safety glasses or goggles, and some primer and the matching paint for your vehicle.
Hi, Randy.
Hi, Scott.
What are you going to show us here today?
Well, today we're going to do some refinishing. We've got an air deflector here on this station wagon that the paint is kind of flaked off.
Okay, I can see it's up here on the top and the bottom side also. All right, where do we get started?
Well, the first thing that we want to do is wash the car thoroughly with hot water and soap. And then we're going to go back over it with some wax and grease remover.
Okay, so that's not actually just water in that bottle you're using.
No, this is an automotive body shop wax and grease remover. And this is taking off any of the residual wax or tar or grease that might be on this that the water won't take off.
Is that a special towel you're using to do that with?
These are just paper towels, and you can use just a regular shop rag as long as it isn't abrasive.
Okay, and most importantly probably that it's also clean.
It has to be clean, absolutely.
All right, then what?
Our next step now is to sand the panel. But before we sand it, would you hand over some 3/4 inch tape?
Sure.
What I want to do is take a little bit of masking tape here and just go around the areas that we're not going to sand to protect them so that sandpaper doesn't overlap these areas and we end up having to paint anymore.
Okay, so that's not actually our final taping. This is just to protect it from
This
sand.
is something that we're going to use just to protect, and we'll be doing this throughout our auto body repairs.
Okay.
Now I want to take some sandpaper, and we've got some 320 grit sandpaper in sheets. And I want to take this paper and I'm going to fold it in half and tear it into half sheets.
Okay.
I prefer to use half sheets. I'm going to take a sponge pad, insert it inside of the sandpaper.
Okay, what's the reason for the sponge pad then?
Well, I don't want to leave sanding marks from my fingers in the panel. The pad will give us a padding so that we won't do that.
Okay. What's special about that paper you're using?
Well, this is a 320 grit open sandpaper, recommended to be used while it's dry. But we can also use a 320 grit wet or dry sandpaper if you prefer, and we can use this either wet or dry. Doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to go into sanding this, trying to feather this paint out. I'm going to start sanding right here.
Okay. Is there any special notes we want to remember when we're sanding?
Well, you want to sand back and forth in a straight line. You don't want to go in circles. And what we want to try to do is feather this paint out here where it's broken.
Okay, what do you mean by feather out?
Well, we want to try to get rid of the rough edge and make it a gradual transition into the paint.
Oh, okay. So our primer and stuff like that will probably take up a little bit of that too.
Yes, absolutely. And what we're going to do is sand for a little bit here, work our way down to the end of the air deflector. And I'm going to flip the sandpaper over, use the other side of it. And you can see now that we're starting to get this broken paint feathered out to a point where I can run my hand over it and not feel an edge anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this should pretty well do it for sanding.
Okay.
Scott, feel this edge here.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I can see where the paint was originally chipping off, and it's nice and smooth now.
Feels pretty smooth. It should be pretty close to ready for primer now.
Okay.
Why don't you step back just a minute? We're going to blow some of this dust off of here.
All right.
Now you can do this at home with a vacuum cleaner, or just wipe it off with the towel.
Okay.
And now what we'd like to do is wax and grease remove it again.
Okay, with the same stuff that we used earlier.
Same exact stuff that we used earlier.
All right, well, let's go ahead and do that.
And what this is doing is just removing the residue from the sanding dust. And now we're ready to mask and prime.
Now, we're just finishing up removing the masking tape that we had on here from sanding. One thing you want to make sure you do when you're removing it is take your time, be nice and slow and gentle with it so you don't pull any extra paint off and have to paint that surface. Get the last one off there. Okay, I'll hand you the tape.
Thank you, Scott.
And you can go ahead and start masking off for priming now. Okay, you're getting her all taped off here with paper and everything like that. The tape that you're using, is there anything special about the tape?
Well, this is a special auto body type tape that we use. And so is the paper. This paper is specifically designed for the auto body shop. But you can use any type of paper that you would like to use. Newspaper works fine, maybe double it up. Mm-hmm. You just want to use a paper that the solvents from the paint won't penetrate through.
Okay. You're going to get another piece here of this other special paper. Now, how far should we probably go out and cover an area to keep it from getting overspray on it?
We want to go about 18 inches out so that the overspray doesn't stick to the rest of the car. Mm-hmm. And of course our machine here applies the tape to the paper automatically.
Okay. Now if we were outside, we would most likely want to probably tape off even a larger area, wouldn't we?
Definitely, if you got any kind of wind blowing around. And probably wouldn't recommend even doing it if you have too much wind. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to do it in as much of a calm area as you possibly can.